Laz because she assumed he already knew. She just said that she loved herself and needed to move on, she finished with a sigh. Although after speaking with Laz, he was prepared to let Mona know that their marriage was over, this came as a surprise to him. He'd never expected her to leave, not when they had a daughter to care for. His head turned toward Jeannie's room, and Baby could read his thoughts as if they were written on the walls. The pain that he felt in his heart for his daughter was too much, and he couldn't utter a single word. His mind automatically went into fix-it mode. Does she know? Baby nodded her head sadly before wiping a tear from her eye. I told her myself. Memphis's eyes narrowed, and he took a step closer to Baby. Heat radiated from his stare, and she nearly felt suffocated by it. You mean to tell me she didn't even say goodbye to her daughter? Unable to lie, but not wanting to admit the sad truth, Baby didn't answer. But Memphis could pick up on the truth in her eyes. In that instance, his heart turned stone cold, and Mona was dead to him. She can never come back, he muttered more to himself than to Baby. If she does, I'll kill her myself. Baby's neck snapped up and her eyes widened as she wondered whether or not she'd heard him correctly. But she could see the hate in his eyes and knew he'd made a promise that he had no intentions of breaking. I'm not going to be at your mercy for much longer, Baby continued. With Mona no longer here, I can't stay. I'll come whenever you need me so that I can help with Jeannie, and that's it. If you'll just give me a week or so to find my own place, I'll... You don't want to stay with me? Memphis asked, making Baby's mouth go dry. Something about how he said the words and the way his entire expression had changed hit her right in the center of her gut, making her lose her words. His eyes were soft as he looked at her, almost pleading with her to take back the last thing she'd said. I just mean... Memphis saw her cheeks flush red from shame, and he hated that he'd made her feel that way. I don't mean to be rude, he started, but I can't let you leave. Her eyes fluttered at the last part of his statement, but she quickly collected herself enough to respond. But I can't just... His face turned to steel, letting her know that it wasn't up for discussion. Her words were muted in her throat, and she stood stoically silent as she watched him walk away to Jeannie's room. By the time he emerged from the hall, it was over an hour later, and he'd put Jeannie to bed. Baby padded over to him and handed him the drink that she'd made. It's your favorite. Henny and Coke, she said with a smile. Or at least I think it's your favorite. It is now. Sitting at the bar, he leaned on it and sipped from his drink while watching Baby intensely. She squirmed under his gaze before dropping her eyes to her hands. Do I make you uncomfortable? He asked the question with sincerity. He really wanted to know if he did, so he could make moves to change whatever he needed to, so that she would be totally at ease around him. You don't make me feel uncomfortable, Baby began to clarify, still looking at her palms so she didn't have to peer into his eyes. It's just that you were married to Mona and she was so beautiful to him, and it was taking all of his willpower to stop from touching her in some way. But the sudden mention of Mona put a sour taste in his mouth. Memphis's brows furrowed tight, and he shook his head. Don't ever mention her name in front of me again. An awkwardness lingered in the air between them, and Baby began to make herself a drink to ease her mind. Memphis rolled his harsh liquor around in his mouth, knowing that it was time to come out with the truth. From the very first time I saw you, I wanted you. Baby's eyes widened before she glanced away, feeling her heart thump to life in her chest. I waited a year for you before I made the mistake of giving in to Mona, and I only did it after she told me to forget about you because you had a boyfriend. He added to her utter shock and surprise. A year? Her eyes narrowed into him. The fire he saw inside of her beautiful browns only added to her allure. Mona told me that you and her started talking the same night after I first met you. Releasing another pressed chuckle, though he didn't find a damn thing funny, Memphis poured himself another drink and shook his head incredulously. Mona's lies just got deeper and deeper to the point that he wondered if she even knew the difference between her make-believe stories and the truth. Nah, that's not how that shit played out at all.